Unbelievable circus freaks that actually existed in rare, shocking history photos. The world of sideshows, circuses, and freak shows is one draped in mystery and tragedy. Beneath the bright lights of the big top and the curious gazes of onlookers were stories of resilience, exploitation, and heartbreak. These performers, celebrated as living wonders, bore the weight of society's fascination with the unusual, often at the cost of their humanity. 1. Bill Dirks, the man with 2 noses and 3 eyes. On a remote Alabama farm in the early 1900s, Bill Dirks came into the world with a face that seemed to belong to a nightmare. 2 noses and a cleft lip scarred his childhood, and even his eyes, sealed shut at birth, had to be surgically opened. The locals regarded him with a mix of fear and disdain, shunning him from schools and denying him any semblance of a normal life. At 14, Bill left his family's farm, trading a life of isolation for one of public scrutiny. He joined the sideshow circuit, billed as the man with 2 noses and 3 eyes, though his supposed third eye was merely an optical illusion created with makeup. He earned $100 a week in the 1960s, a respectable sum at the time, but it came at the expense of being ogled like a specimen under glass. In the chaos of this exploitative world, Bill found an unlikely partner in Mildred, the alligator-skinned woman, whose ichthyosis caused her skin to resemble reptilian scales. Their love was an act of quiet rebellion against the society that commodified them. Together, they found solace in each other's flaws, proving that love sees beyond the grotesque. 2. Dominique Castagna, the Mummy of France. Dominique Castagna was born in 1869 in the sleepy village of Salini, France, but his frail, skeletal frame ensured he would never live a quiet life. At just 4 feet 9 inches tall and weighing a mere 50 pounds, his gaunt features and buggy eyes made him an object of both pity and terror. Despite his efforts to lead a normal life, the world treated him as a walking ghost, a macabre shadow in a bustling crowd. Persuaded by a co-worker named Cruel, Dominique reluctantly entered show business in 1896, where he was dubbed the Mummy. Draped in rags and posed in eerie tableaus, he stood silently as audiences marveled at his corpse-like visage. Though he despised the spectacle, he found fleeting happiness in his friendship with Cruel, a bond that gave him a rare sense of belonging. But happiness was fragile. When Cruel left the sideshow to marry, Dominique's isolation deepened, consuming him. In 1905, unable to endure the weight of his loneliness, he took his own life in a dingy hotel in Liege. His story remains a haunting testament to the cost of living as a human artifact. 3. Tom Thunn, the Colossus of the Circus. Tom Thunn's immense size made him a living legend and a tragic cautionary tale. Born in 1895 in Valenzuela, Mexico, he grew to an astonishing 1,600 pounds, becoming the fat man of the sideshow circuit. Dressed in boots, stockings, and a smock, he presented himself to gawking crowds who paid to marvel at his sheer enormity. But his fame masked a life of suffering. Tom's size left him immobile and vulnerable, his health deteriorating rapidly under the strain. In 1926, he died from a combination of myocarditis, dropsy, and suffocation of the heart, a grim reminder of the toll that the circus world extracted from its stars. 4. Millie and Christine McCoy, the Two-Headed Nightingale. Born into slavery in 1851 in North Carolina, Millie and Christine McCoy were conjoined twins joined at the pelvis. Their mother's owner sold him as infants, and they spent their childhood as possessions passed between showmen. Billed as the two-headed nightingale, their performances showcased their harmonious singing, a bittersweet juxtaposition to the disharmony of their lives. Though they achieved fame and even performed for European royalty, they were never free from the exploitation that marked their early years. Their tragic story stands as a chilling reminder of how society once turned human beings into commodities for profit and entertainment. 5. The Limbless Wonder. One of the most haunting figures in circus lore is the Limbless Wonder, a young girl born without legs. Posed delicately on a swing and dressed in ornate period clothing, she captivated audiences with her serene beauty. But behind her poised expression lay a life of sorrow, her physical condition turned into a spectacle for the masses. Her fate is shrouded in mystery. Some say she lived out her days in quiet obscurity. Others believe she vanished, her life consumed by the very world that made her famous. Her image endures as a symbol of the eerie intersection between beauty and tragedy in the sideshow circuit. 6. Frankie Saludo, the clown who brought joy. Frankie Saludo, a beloved Ringling Brothers clown, spent decades spreading laughter, his quick wit and slapstick humor lighting up the big top. Born with dwarfism, Frankie transformed what others might see as a limitation into a lifelong career of joy and artistry. Yet even amid the laughter, Frankie's story was tinged with melancholy. Beneath the grease paint and oversized shoes was a man who carried the weight of society's expectations, navigating a world that celebrated him only when he wore a mask. 7. Frank Lentini, the three-legged wonder. Born in Sicily in 1889, Frank Lentini came into the world with a rare condition known as dipagus, resulting in his possession of 3 fully functional legs, 4 feet. One of which sprouted from his third leg, and 2 sets of genitals. His body was a marvel of biology, but in his small village, it was a source of whispers, stares, and alienation. At the age of 9, Lentini emigrated to the United States, where he found his place in the sideshow world. Nicknamed the three-legged man, he astonished audiences not only with his unique anatomy, but also with his charm, intelligence, and humor. Unlike many performers who were reduced to silent displays, Frank commanded the stage, engaging with his audiences. He performed feats like kicking a soccer ball with his third leg, earning him spots in prestigious troupes such as the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. Off-stage, Frank defied expectations, living a relatively normal life. He married, raised 4 children, and found happiness beyond the glare of the stage lights. Yet, his story remains a haunting reminder of how society's fascination with the unusual can overshadow the person within. 8. The Unknown Child, the girl on the seal's nose. One chilling photograph from the mid-20th century captures a small girl balanced precariously on the nose of a performing seal. Her delicate frame illuminated by the harsh lights of a traveling circus. Her name, like so many child performers, has been lost to time. According to circus folklore, her mother, desperate to escape poverty, sold her to the circus, a common but heartbreaking reality in the world of sideshows. Raised among acrobats, clowns, and exotic animals, the girl dazzled audiences with her grace and charm. Yet her personal life was likely one of loneliness and exploitation, her childhood traded for a lifetime of applause and anonymity. Her ultimate fate remains a mystery, her story lingering like a ghostly echo of a bygone era. 9. Jacques Lerner and Air, the man who became a monkey. In 1926, Hollywood witnessed an unusual partnership that blurred the line between man and beast. Jacques Lerner, a celebrated stage actor, became famous for his uncanny ability to impersonate monkeys, a skill he honed to perfection alongside Air, a trained chimpanzee renowned for his comedic timing. As part of their act, Lerner spent hours mimicking AER's every move, studying the chimp's expressions and gestures to bring his transformation to life. Their performances captivated audiences, merging humor with a creeping sense of the uncanny. Lerner's dedication to his craft raised questions about the thin boundary between human and animal, a theme that resonated with audiences but left a lingering discomfort. Though their act achieved fame, it also highlighted the darker side of early 20th century entertainment, where the pursuit of spectacle often came at the expense of dignity and respect for performers, human or otherwise. 10. Prince Randian, the living torso. Born in British Guiana in 1871, Prince Randian was a man of extraordinary resilience. Born without arms or legs due to tetraamelia syndrome, he carved out a life that defied his physical limitations. Known as the living torso, Randian amazed audiences with his ability to paint, shave, and even roll cigarettes using only his lips. Randian's fame soared after his appearance in Freaks, 1932, where he delivered one of the film's most memorable moments, lighting a cigarette without assistance. But behind the awe and applause was a man who had to constantly prove his humanity in a world that saw him as a curiosity. His strength and self-sufficiency were a quiet rebellion against the forces that sought to define him by his condition alone. 11. The Wild Men, a tragic spectacle. Among the eerie legends of the sideshow were the Wild Men, two brothers with bodies and faces covered in thick, untamed hair due to hypertrichosis. Billed as feral beings caught in distant jungles, they were paraded under the harsh lights of the big top, their humanity obscured by the illusion of savagery. The truth was far less exotic and far more tragic. These men, born into poverty, were exploited for their rare condition, traveling from town to town with no stability or care. Over time, the grueling schedule and harsh conditions took their toll. Both fell ill, their weakened bodies succumbing to neglect. The circus moved on, leaving them behind, forgotten figures in a world that thrived on their otherness. 12. Cordelia. Old Stumpy. Cordelia, known by the nickname Old Stumpy, was a sideshow performer whose severely shortened limbs made him a star attraction. Born in the early 20th century, his life was a mix of exploitation and admiration. Audiences marveled at Cordelia's remarkable strength and resilience, but his personal struggles were immense. Behind the applause was a man grappling with the mockery and objectification that came with his fame. His story, like so many others, is a haunting reminder of how society has often celebrated differences while failing to see the people behind the spectacle. 13. The Legend of the Blue Albina. In the shadows of Rochester Cemetery in Topeka, Kansas, the tale of the Blue Albina persists as a chilling ghost story. This mysterious woman, born with a rare condition that gave her skin a bluish tint, lived near the cemetery in the early 1900s. Ostracized for her appearance, she rarely interacted with others, choosing instead to roam the night with her loyal dog. Her death in 1964 marked the beginning of an eerie legacy. Her grave was desecrated, her body stolen, and rumors of her restless spirit began to spread. Visitors to the cemetery reported sightings of a ghostly woman tending to graves or walking her spectral dog, her presence accompanied by an overwhelming sense of sorrow. Some encounters turned violent, with claims of scratches, suffocation, and sudden vanishings into the misty graveyard. The Blue Albina's story reflects the cruelty she endured in life and the torment she carries in death. Her ghost, a specter of isolation and pain, remains a chilling reminder of humanity's capacity for discrimination and disregard. 14. The Tearful Elephant, a silent witness to suffering. Under the glare of the circus lights, an elephant stood, its eyes glistening with unshed tears. Once majestic and free, its ears were mutilated, and a swing hung cruelly from its flesh, a stage prop for a laughing performer in glittering attire. The audience cheered and clapped, oblivious to the silent agony reflected in the animal's mournful gaze. Behind the act was a tale of relentless captivity, the elephant's spirit broken by years of exploitation. The crowd's joy was built upon the suffering of a creature whose life had been reduced to a series of painful tricks. The performer, radiant in her costume, represented the duality of circus life, fleeting fame masking profound suffering. 15. Lucky Hell, the blade swallower's deadly dance. In a world of dangerous allure, Lucky Hell stood as a symbol of defiance. Dressed in shimmering silks, she stepped into the spotlight, her audience holding its breath as she raised a gleaming blade to her lips. The sword glinted ominously under the stage lights, its descent into her throat a spectacle of daring precision. The crowd erupted in applause as she completed the act, unaware of the danger she faced each night. Behind the curtain, Lucky Hell knew the razor-thin line between success and tragedy. Her career was a constant gamble with death, a price paid for fleeting fame in a world eager for danger but indifferent to its human cost. 16. Jack Earl, the Friendly Giant. Born Jacob Ehrlich in 1906, Jack Earl grew to a towering 7 feet 6.5 inches by adulthood, earning him a place in both Hollywood and the circus. As a child, he was an anomaly, reaching 6 feet tall by age 10. Discovered by filmmakers, he appeared in over 50 silent films before a pituitary tumor altered his life, slowing his growth and restoring his vision. Earl transitioned to the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus, where he performed for 14 years. Offstage, he was a man of many talents, a painter, photographer, and salesman. Despite his achievements, his life was shaped by society's fascination with his size, a legacy both celebrated and tinged with sadness. 17. The Pig-Faced Lady of Manchester. In the late 1700s, a woman born with a severe facial deformity was exploited as the Pig-Faced Lady of Manchester. Locked in a cage and paraded before crowds, her life was reduced to a grotesque spectacle. Her captors denied her a voice, ensuring she could never tell her story. Her humanity was obscured by the monstrous narrative constructed around her. Isolated and humiliated, she spent her days as an object of derision. She died forgotten, her real name lost to time, leaving behind only a haunting symbol of society's cruelty. 18. The Child in Leopard Skin. In the early 1900s, a young African child was forced into the circus, dressed in leopard skins and presented as an exotic spectacle. Stripped of their identity and heritage, they were reduced to a caricature of their culture, paraded before audiences eager to witness the primitive. Behind the act was a story of exploitation and survival, as the child endured dehumanization in exchange for the promise of food and shelter. Their life serves as a stark reminder of the ways colonialism and racism intersected with the entertainment industry, turning lives into commodities. 19. Sarah Bartman, the Hottentot Venus. Sarah Bartman's story is perhaps one of the most tragic examples of human exploitation. Born in 1789 in South Africa, she was taken to Europe under false pretenses and exhibited in freak shows as the Hottentot Venus. Her large buttocks were cruelly fetishized, reducing her to an object of ridicule and fascination. After her death at the age of 26, her body was dissected and displayed in a Paris museum, a final indignity in a life marked by exploitation. It wasn't until 2002 that her remains were returned to South Africa for a proper burial, a belated recognition of her humanity and the injustice she endured. The stories of sideshow performers are haunting reflections of a society fascinated by difference yet blind to the humanity of those it gazes upon. From spectral legends like the Blue Albina to the tragic realities of Sarah Bartman and others, these lives reveal a world of exploitation, resilience, and enduring pain. Beneath the glittering lights of the circus lies a shadowed history, one of human cruelty disguised as entertainment, of lives forever altered by the insatiable hunger for the extraordinary. These stories are more than history. They are cautionary tales, urging us to look beyond the spectacle and see the people within.
Thanks for watching. Please support our channel. Please like, comment, and subscribe. New videos are uploaded regularly.